In a dramatic rescue, the likes of which Israel has not seen in nearly 50 years, Israeli special forces have rescued 4 hostages from deep within the Gaza Strip. We are going to get into all the crazy and dramatic details of the rescue on today's show. Meanwhile, the United States Joe Biden administration has responded to this incredible news with negativity, saying that Israel rescuing innocent hostages makes it extremely difficult to sweet talk to Hamas terrorists who they are trying to cut a ceasefire deal with. Stay tuned. This is going to be an exciting show. I'm Josiah, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome back to the show, guys. First, make sure to subscribe to our channel here. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the Israel Guys. We've almost reached 200,000 subscribers. Thank you all who have already subscribed. You can help us by reaching that goal if you have not subscribed by just clicking that little button down below. Also, don't forget to sign up for a June raffle giveaway. We have a huge package that we're giving away at the end of June. All you have to do is click the link down in the description below, put in your email address. It's all free, and we'll select a winner to win lots of amazing Israel merch and Israel-inspired products from our online store. Guys, it's great to be back on the show here at the Israel Guys. I have actually been gone for the last 2 months, for those of you who have noticed. I got married 2 months ago, so we're very, very excited and very happy, and but glad to be back on the show, giving you the updated news and the accurate story of what's happening here in the land of Israel. We're back in Israel again. Guys, fascinating, exciting, dramatic news broke on Saturday that was absolutely just elated the entire nation of Israel. It elated those who were supporting Israel from all around the world, Christians from all around the world. I got messages from many people in the United States and different places, just so happy and such amazing news. Some of the best news we've heard in a while coming out of Israel is that the Israeli special forces have rescued 4 Israeli hostages from deep inside the Gaza Strip. First of all, we thank God for a miraculous rescue that rescued these 4 hostages. And we're going to get into some of the details of the rescue. But the operation took place Saturday morning around 12 o'clock. And the hostages were actually being held right in the center of Gaza, central Gaza, the Nuseirat refugee camp. And I'll tell you the names of the 4 hostages were Noah Argamani, young girl, Almog Meir Jan, Andrei Koslov, and Shlomo Ziv. They were all kidnapped by the Hamas terrorists on October 7th at the Nova Music Festival. And the one hostage is kind of made her face went out there a lot. Noah Argamani, she was the girl that was, you could see she was screaming, being carried away on the back of a motorcycle. That video, I think, went viral around the internet. Many people saw her face, just that face of distress and terror on her face as she's being kidnapped away in the back of this Hamas terrorist motorcycle deep into the Gaza Strip. They were in captivity for 246 days. 8 months these guys were held in captivity, and in a miraculous, crazy, dramatic rescue, very similar in drama and proportion to the Entebbe rescue in the amount of training that went through, and just the whole thing, all the details, which we're going to get into right now. We'll be right back to the show in just 1 second, but first, check out this epic trailer.
It says, I will bring you in from the 4 corners of the earth, and people will know that you are my people and that I am your God.
Discover for yourself the miracle of the land and the courageous hearts of the people of Israel.
I am 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 Israel.
Visit IamIsraelFilm.com to begin your journey.
Available now on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download, I Am Israel is an epic film that will take you on a cinematic journey through the land of the Bible. You'll meet Jewish men and women whose very lives are a testimony to the promises of God. And you'll see with your own eyes the miraculous rebirth of the Promised Land. Screened in over 10,000 congregations worldwide, it's the award-winning film about Israel made for followers of Jesus. Visit IamIsraelFilm.com to begin your journey today. Again, that's IamIsraelFilm.com, or click the link down in the description below to get your copy today. So the place where these hostages were being held, inside this refugee camp, obviously it's a very highly civilian populated area. Refugee, you could say, civilian. I don't know. We're just gonna use the term civilian because there's Gazans living there, families, whatever. Also, don't forget that like every single house has a terrorist in it pretty much down in these refugee camps. So yes, there's families, but they're being used as human shields by these terrorists themselves. Noa Argamani was actually held in a separate building from the other 3 male hostages. She was held in a locked room, and the buildings, the IDF said, were about 200 meters apart. So these 2 teams approached each of the buildings, and they had to attack at the exact same time. They had to attack the buildings at the exact same times because they feared if one of the buildings was attacked first, the other buildings, the terrorists, the guards, there was armed guards guarding all these hostages, would hear that they're being attacked and fear that the IDF would attack them. And the IDF feared that if that happened, the terrorists would go ahead and kill the other hostages before the IDF were able to get to them. So they attacked, boom, simultaneously at the exact same time. I think they said the guards in Noa Argamani buildings were completely surprised, and they were taken out right away, and she was rescued. In the other building where the 3 male hostages were being held, there was a bit more of a firefight, and actually, very tragically, the commander of the Yamam squad that went in there, the special forces, the IDF, the commander was actually wounded in that crossfire exchange right there, and he later died of his wounds in the hospital. Arnon Zamora, please remember his name, and his family. I think he left behind a wife and 2 children. But he was the hero of this operation. The only soldier that was actually killed in the operation has been named Operation Arnon in honor of this hero. But according to the IDF spokesperson, Daniel Hagari, the IDF, training to go into this mission and actually carry it out, the IDF built models of the apartments for the special forces to rehearse the rescue. Very similar in scale of preparation to the Entebbe rescue in 1976, where they went into Entebbe, Uganda, and rescued all the hostages being held there by the terrorists. They had to make sure everything was done completely simultaneously. This is from the Daniel Hagari's statement. In Noa Argamani's building, our forces surprised them completely. It was still hard. In the other building, we had crossfires with the guards, during which the commander of the squad from Yamam was injured. And as I said, he later died. So they attacked, subdued the terrorists, extracted the hostages, and as they were withdrawing from the refugee camp, so this is where things got a little bit more crazy, the local Palestinians, so we're talking about what the media would call civilians, all came out, heard that there was this rescue going on. They all came out and started converging on the IDF forces, firing RPGs, multiple different Palestinians with RPGs and rifles, firing at the IDF forces there, requiring the Israeli Air Force to come in and cover the evacuation with air support coming in there. And a lot of the mainstream media is calling this rescue operation a disaster, a massacre. They're putting out numbers of how many Palestinian civilians were killed during this rescue, and that's all they're focusing on, because basically the IDF goes in, they take out the terrorists holding the hostages, then they start pulling out, and the population of this refugee camp just converge on the IDF, attacking them from all sides, requiring the IDF to respond with live fire, as you have to do in a war when people are shooting at you. Also, the air support coming in and targeting these terrorists on the ground. And I think I saw another source that said the IDF had already figured out where some of these hotbeds of terrorists were, and hit those with airstrikes as well. Very, very targeted, very professional, as Israel always is down in the Gaza Strip fighting with the Palestinians there. So pulled them out. They were evacuated in helicopters back into Israeli territory and taken to the hospital for medical treatment. Thank God all the hostages, it seems, are very well medically. who knows the emotional, there's tons of emotional trauma and different things they're going to need to work through in the next several months and years. But thank God they seem to all be doing well medically, and they have now been reunited with their families. Some of the videos of the hostages being reunited with their families are really, really powerful and emotional. And if you can just think about your loved ones, your brother, your sister, your mom, being held inside by terrorists for 8 months, and now being brought back home, has got to be just one of the most amazing things in the world. And some of the hostages actually shared how they were treated in their captivity. All these 4 hostages said they were emotionally abused during their captivity. Haven't really heard how much physical abuse there was, but obviously they're not being treated very nicely. And you can expect that being held by terrorists. They even said they were forced to study the Quran and learn some Islamic law, Islamic rulings, things like that. Noah Argamani, the young girl being held, said she was taught conversational Arabic and was not allowed to shower during her whole 8 months. Not allowed to shower during 8 months. And Noah also said about her dramatic rescue in her time in captivity, she said, quote, "I was held at a wealthy family's home in Gaza. They kept telling me, quote, 'You should thank God you're with us. There are far worse places.' While I was there, they would open the door without knocking whenever they wanted me to clean the house." So she was working. She was, doing whatever they said, cleaning their house. She said, quote, "When I was rescued, a soldier opened the door and said, 'Hello, Noah, this is the IDF.' I thought he was joking, so I didn't move. Then he told me, 'I'm going to pick you up over my shoulder. Is that okay?' That's when I realized it was actually happening." And then she says, "During the departure, the truck got stuck. It was terrifying. The soldiers were so brave. It was a matter of a few seconds, and I might have not been here today." So obviously she was being held in this, and she said she was being held in a wealthy family's house, and more information has actually come out about that. One of the members of this wealthy family's house that she was held, one of the family members that was holding her captive, is an Al Jazeera journalist. So a journalist working for a news agency was holding this young Jewish girl hostage for 8 months after being kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival. Oh, and by the way, this family would also be considered by the mainstream media and by the Biden administration, unfortunately, and the international community. This family would be considered innocent Palestinian civilians. Holding this hostage, they would be considered innocent Palestinian civilians because they're not. There's no reason why they should be considered, because they're obviously holding a hostage that was taken, and they're being paid by Hamas, and I think they even had armed guards in the house with them. And this, just in regard to the Al Jazeera journalist, like, that's crazy. A journalist being paid by a actual, if you can call Al Jazeera an actual news agency. It really begs the question, should Al Jazeera be investigated for hiring a terrorist? And this is not the first time something like this has happened and information has come out like this, but hiring terrorists as their journalists. Anyway, we're going to move on from that, but that's a little bit of the information about people who are holding these Israelis hostage in their homes. So right before we close here, I just want to talk about something it kind of just blows my mind, and as my wife said a little while ago, it's kind of a special kind of stupid. The Biden administration, their reaction to this hostage rescue. So U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to arrive in Israel today. Today is Monday, this afternoon. And according to Channel 7 News here in Israel, Blinken is expected to pressure Israeli officials to accept the proposed ceasefire and hostage deal that President Biden presented at the end of last month. According to Channel 7, a senior Biden administration official told NBC News overnight that Israel's operation, which rescued 4 hostages on Saturday, is likely to complicate the Secretary of State's efforts to reach such a deal. So basically, they're saying, the Biden administration that's saying Israel rescuing hostages successfully might make Israel do more successful operations and successfully rescue more hostages, which it makes it much harder to reach a compromising deal with terrorists. It's much harder to negotiate sweet talk to Hamas terrorists if Israel keeps going in and rescuing their people, because then Hamas doesn't have any leverage, to reach a deal. Guys, if you just think about this on a first grade level, like very simple level, you're trying to reach a deal to release these hostages, in which Israel would release hundreds, if not thousands, of terrorists in response, in exchange for these hostages. Also, it lets Hamas survive. Also, it gives Hamas free reign in the Gaza Strip. This ceasefire deal is bad on all accounts, telling Israel to pull out, stop their operation. And you're mad at Israel for rescuing these hostages because that inhibits this terrible deal you're trying to reach in the first place. Sometimes I wonder if the marbles aren't all quite there in the Biden administration, and as we know, there are definitely some issues there. But as regards to just simple math and simple logic, in regards something like this, you're dealing with a terrorist organization, a sovereign nation, who are protecting their citizens, rescuing their hostages who have been held in captivity for 8 months. Guys, it's pretty simple, and just a statement like this, or words coming out from the Biden administration about it's going to make it difficult to reach a deal, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken's going to make his trip very difficult in trying to pressure Israel. All this I just found absolutely ridiculous, and it's very difficult for me and as an American to see my government treating Israel and just being, unfortunately, very stupid in this matter of the war with Gaza and Israel. Guys, don't forget to check out the I Am Israel film. Thank you for joining us on today's show, and let's continue to thank God for the miraculous rescue of these hostages inside the Gaza Strip, and pray for the release and the rescue of all the other, I think, 120 hostages who are being held inside of Gaza. Don't forget to join our email list for a chance to win the jackpot prize from the Israel Guys merch store. Click the link down in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe and get that conversation going. Guys, tune out the fake news. There's lots of fake news out there, and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.